In the quiet moments before dawn breaks, when the world still slumbers in silence, a question lingers in the air, almost imperceptible yet profoundly significant. What kind of life do I wish to lead? This question, while seemingly simple, cuts to the very core of our existence, challenging us to confront the cycles of mediocrity, disappointment, and overthinking that have ensnared generations in a web of unfulfilled potential. It is here, in this moment of quiet introspection, that the journey to greatness begins, not with grand declarations or ambitious goals, but with a deep, unwavering commitment to the self, a commitment to transform, to grow, and to break free from the endless cycle that has held us captive, guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. The Stoic philosophers, with their profound understanding of the human condition, offer us a map to navigate this treacherous terrain. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do, remarked Epictetus, encapsulating the essence of Stoic philosophy. This is not merely about defining our ambitions, but about aligning our very being with the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It is a call to action, a reminder that greatness is not bestowed, but forged in the crucible of daily choices and actions. In this light, Stoicism is not a passive acceptance of fate, but an active engagement with life, a commitment to embody the virtues we hold dear, regardless of the external chaos and pressures. In our lives, the path to personal greatness is fraught with setbacks, disappointments, and a relentless stream of overthinking. Whenever the moment feels heavy, tough, or unbearable, remember this quote: "This too shall pass." The journey to greatness, according to the Stoics, begins with a moment of introspection, a declaration to yourself of who you aspire to become. But this is not merely about setting goals or ambitions. It's about defining the man you truly aspire to be, in accordance with nature and virtue. It's about visualizing the version of your character that always makes the best possible move, regardless of the world's chaos, pressures, and temptations. And thus, in Stoic philosophy, this is the true beginning of a committed life, where every thought and every action becomes aligned with this higher version of yourself. Let this be our rallying cry: to break free from the chains that bind us to cycles of underachievement, to rise with courage and conviction, and to forge a legacy of excellence that transcends the limitations of our past. With each step taken in mindfulness, each decision made with purpose, and each challenge met with unwavering resolve, we not only chart a course towards personal success, but also inspire those around us to embark on their own journey of transformation. Together, let's turn the page on mediocrity and step boldly into a future brimming with potential, purpose, and unparalleled success. One of the tenets of Stoicism is that we already have the resources we need to thrive in life, and thus, looking outside for answers is for fools, the Stoics believed. Success and overcoming obstacles is not out in the world, it's locked up in your mind and actions. You can either keep looking out the window, waiting for someone or something to arrive and arm you with the tools for success, or you can turn to the mirror and save yourself, because you already have all the resources, strength, and energy needed to transform your life. The key now is to actively utilize them to your advantage. According to the Stoics, the greatest fools are those who spend their time waiting for better conditions, yearning for a hand they haven't been dealt. Because the truth is, time, in its relentless march, does not pause to heed our desires for an easier path. Instead, the Stoics demanded a clear-eyed assessment of one's current position, coupled with a relentless drive to make the most of it, using every challenge as material to advance forward. And thus, one of the Stoic rules says, "Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well." Stoicism teaches us that change is the only constant in life, a theme echoed in the writings of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers. They believed that success comes not from resisting change, but from embracing it and adapting to it. Remember that as you delay, life does not pause, and that's why the biggest fools, according to the Stoics, are those who delay virtue, those who wait for a more favorable moment. Because the truth is, in the relentless march of time, there is no better moment to take action than now. Right now is the only moment you truly possess, and thus, it's the only real moment in which you can do good, the only moment in which you can practice the Stoic virtues of discipline, courage, justice, and wisdom. Therefore, instead of waiting for the perfect moment, use the imperfect present. It is to remind yourself of the Stoic rule, that while we are postponing, life speeds by. If you wish to be a Stoic, you must understand that external things cannot upset you. It's only your opinions about these things that can. In Stoicism, events themselves are seen as subjective. They simply are what they are. But our interpretation of these events, the subjective lens through which we view them, is what can upset us or empower us. You see, the Stoics were keen on utilizing their minds for their own benefit. They took life's raw materials, the events beyond their control, and focused solely on how these could be advantageous to them. This is a true Stoic, a mind that finds strength and opportunity in every twist and turn of fate. How will you greet the morning sun tomorrow, and what will you decide to carry into the hours that follow? Will you choose a routine that honors your body, or will you drift without direction, allowing precious moments to slip away? The Stoics remind us that true change begins in the simple decisions we make each day, including the way we treat our physical selves. Daily exercise can be a gateway to transformation, a promise we fulfill for our own well-being, rather than a chore to be avoided. Imagine each movement as a spark of vitality, an act of gratitude for the strength you possess, and an offering to your future self. A balanced, nourishing meal is not a burden, but a celebration of life, a harmonious alliance between body and mind. If we love the vessel that carries us, how much more might we love the journey itself? Ask yourself now, will you honor this gift of life by embracing each day with discipline and kindness? Have you paused to consider how a soft mind can coexist with a strong body, and how both serve as pillars for your daily pursuits? The Stoics believed that the physical and the mental realms are intertwined, each feeding into the other, guiding us toward equilibrium. When we care for our body through thoughtful nourishment, daily movement and rest, we simultaneously fortify our mental resilience. A healthy body, after all, becomes a powerful ally for clarity and calm, and a tranquil mind creates a space where wisdom can flourish. If we neglect our physical state, our mind may lose its anchor and drift into discontent. If we ignore our mental well-being, our body carries tension like a burden it cannot shake. In all that you do, remember that self-care is not self-indulgence, but a kind of stewardship, a vow to maintain the temple that houses your spirit. So ask yourself again, will you grant your body and mind the love and care they deserve? Do you wonder how the Stoics would view your modern routines, your hurried tasks, and the way you yield to distractions? Perhaps they would gently remind you that each breath is fleeting, each moment a treasure that should not be scattered by trivial pursuits. A disciplined daily practice, whether it be a morning walk, a set of stretches, or a mindful pause before a meal, can sculpt the contours of your soul just as it shapes the strength of your limbs. Think of your rituals as quiet acts of devotion, small but potent sparks of order in a chaotic world. Yes, responsibilities press upon us, and the demands of the day can feel insurmountable. Yet the Stoics teach us that even a single moment of care can carve a path to tranquility. By devoting time to physical care, we pay homage to the miracle of existence itself, turning each routine into a radiant act of presence. Will you find a way to take a sacred pause, to say to yourself, "I am worth these moments of stillness and discipline"? Are you curious how a shift in mindset might elevate even the most ordinary tasks, transforming them into opportunities for growth? The Stoics often reminded us that our internal dialogue shapes the world we perceive, and if we treat our body with disdain or neglect, we invite struggle into our mind. Consider how it feels to wake up early for gentle movement, turning what many call a burden into a daily gift of renewal. Watch how healthy eating, once seen as a restrictive practice, becomes a sacred act of sustenance when viewed through the lens of self-compassion. Reflect on the changes in your emotions when you align your actions with a higher purpose, focusing on wellness rather than fleeting comfort. Every choice becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of your character, and every meal, every step, every breath is an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment to growth. Will you embrace this perspective and allow simple habits to be the cornerstone of your transformation? When was the last time you allowed yourself to truly rest, to sink into silence without guilt, to nurture a mind weary from overthinking? The Stoics remind us that rest is not laziness, it is preparation, a sanctuary where we mend the cracks in our armor. Self-care extends beyond exercise and diet, reaching deep into the realm of stillness where the mind can unravel its knots. Picture the gentle release of tension as you grant yourself an evening free from worry, your thoughts drifting slowly like clouds in a clear sky. The Stoics believed that wisdom grows in these quiet spaces, that reflection is the seed from which insight blossoms. And when the world presses its demands upon you, approach it renewed, shielded by the calm you have nurtured in those moments of peace. Let your nightly routines reflect an act of self-respect, offering your mind the same devotion you grant your body. Do you believe you can carve these oases of tranquility into your day to fortify both body and spirit for the challenges ahead? Does the path toward lasting change sometimes feel tangled, like a labyrinth of conflicting advice, countless methods, and fleeting trends? The Stoics would remind us to trust in the power of simplicity, for virtue often flourishes in uncluttered spaces. Instead of chasing the newest fad or seeking shortcuts, focus on the timeless principles that shape character: daily effort, patient practice, and humble reflection. Embrace the notion that slow and steady progress, rooted in consistency, will guide you far beyond the mirage of instant results. Each day can be a single step toward mastery, a small correction in your course, a new vow to honor your well-being. The Stoics suggest that we find joy in the process itself, not in some distant reward or accolade. Can you accept that the journey is as precious as the destination, and that the path to true change is marked by ordinary choices repeated with unwavering resolve? How often do you catch yourself drifting into worries about what tomorrow might bring, or regrets over chances you missed yesterday? The Stoics teach us to anchor ourselves in the present, to embrace what is now rather than languish in the past or fear the future. Look around you at the real and tangible gifts you possess at this very moment, whether it's the beating of your heart or the warmth of a friendly voice. Clinging to future anxieties robs you of the energy you need to flourish in the present, and dwelling on past mistakes only chains you to what can no longer be undone. Instead, direct your strength toward the tasks at hand, giving yourself wholly to the here and now. Observe how your mind calms when your gaze narrows to this breath, this action, this fleeting instant. Will you allow the Stoics to guide you in practicing presence, to unburden your soul from what lies beyond your control? Have you ever paused to admire the resilience that arises when you greet obstacles as invitations to grow rather than curses to lament? The Stoics believed that hardship is the fiery forge where our virtues are tested and refined. Modern Stoic philosophers like Massimo Pigliucci echo these sentiments, reminding us that adversity can spark an inner metamorphosis if we learn to see challenges not as punishment, but as catalysts for transformation. Picture each difficulty as a riddle whispered by the universe, asking you to respond with courage, patience, or humility. Even a minor setback can reveal weaknesses we never knew we had, granting us a chance to strengthen them. Indeed, joy can flourish in the very heart of struggle if we see it as part of the grand tapestry of our lives. Will you dare to reinterpret the stumbling blocks on your path, to let them be the stepping stones that carry you onward? Could you imagine discovering serenity in the midst of chaos, finding a still point in life's swirling storm? The Stoics have always taught that tranquility lies within, waiting to be cultivated like a hidden garden safe from the winds of fortune. When the world outside growls with demands and distractions, retreat inward and rest in the citadel of your own reason. True peace, they say, is not the absence of storms, but the unwavering presence of a calm center that refuses to be rattled like the eye of a hurricane. This practice demands patience, for it is tempting to blame circumstances and other people for our suffering. Yet the Stoics remind us that we hold the key to our responses, that our inner life remains ours to shape. If we allow the chaos of external events to dictate our inner climate, we become prisoners of circumstance. Can you see yourself as the architect of your emotional state, constructing resilience from the bedrock of discipline and acceptance? Have you noticed how the Stoics place great emphasis on personal responsibility, urging us to steer our own course? Epictetus famously taught that while we cannot control everything outside of us, we can govern our own actions, intentions, and judgments. Modern Stoic thinkers echo this, highlighting how responsibility is the seed from which freedom grows. Imagine each choice as a vote for the person you wish to become, each decision shaping the texture of your character. Recognize that you alone hold the power to interpret events, whether they spark bitterness or compassion, defeat or determination. The Stoics do not claim this path is easy, but they promise it is liberating, for we find our strength in acknowledging that we are not at the mercy of random fate. Will you seize the helm of your own life, choosing your response with clarity and purpose? What if we began each day by asking ourselves, how do I wish to feel when night falls, and how can I ensure I remain true to my intentions? The Stoics would suggest reflecting on our aspirations in the morning, then examining our deeds at dusk, forging a cycle of awareness that illuminates our progress. Picture beginning your day with a quiet vow, to stay patient when the day grows chaotic, to remain kind even when provoked, to practice diligence when laziness beckons. You'd finish the day by revisiting those vows, celebrating your triumphs and noting your slips without harshness, for the Stoics favor self-compassion over self-condemnation. With each rising sun, you refine your goals, adapt your approach, and carry forward the lessons of the previous day. This daily dance of reflection nurtures a sense of purpose, weaving wisdom into the very fabric of your life. Will you let this practice become a steady drumbeat, guiding you closer to the person you long to be? Have you ever considered how gratitude can shift the lens through which you see the world, unveiling new dimensions of beauty and abundance? The Stoics often spoke of acknowledging the countless gifts hidden in each day, from the miracle of our senses to the love we share with others. By focusing on what we have, rather than bemoaning what we lack, we breed resilience in our hearts, for we become less prone to envy and despair. Each dawn can feel like an unexpected blessing, each meal a cause for celebration, and each conversation a chance to enrich our understanding of life. Modern Stoic thinkers echo this sentiment, encouraging us to forge gratitude into a habit, a refuge against the storms of discontent. In these moments of thankfulness, our spirits grow lighter and our judgments become tempered by appreciation. Will you pause to count your blessings, noticing how your soul softens and your worries shrink? Do you see how fleeting fame, wealth, and external accolades truly are, how quickly they slip through our fingers like grains of sand? The Stoics remind us that our worth does not hinge on the applause of others, nor does our happiness rely on material possessions. Seneca warned that chasing external treasures can consume a lifetime, leaving little space for genuine fulfillment. Instead, the Stoics advise turning inward, cultivating virtues like honesty, courage, and compassion, for these qualities cannot be stripped away by the changing winds of fortune. Ask yourself what remains when all external trappings are gone, when the stage lights fade and the crowd disperses. That remainder, your character, stands as the most steadfast part of you. If you invest in the strength of your inner self, you carry with you an unassailable treasure. Will you let your value be defined by the world, or by the unbreakable radiance that dwells within? Is there a sense of liberation in the Stoic view that so much lies beyond our control that we might ease our grip and find freedom in acceptance? We often exhaust ourselves trying to steer the uncontrollable, hoping to shape outcomes or alter other people's behaviors. Yet the Stoics say, relinquish that burden and concentrate instead on your own thoughts and actions, the realm truly governed by your will. Imagine the relief of releasing what you cannot direct, turning your energy toward what you can shape, your intentions, your judgments, your efforts. In doing so, the storms of life may still rage, but you remain unshaken, anchored in your own purpose. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means a calm acknowledgement of the world as it is, and a resolve to respond with wisdom. Ask yourself, are you willing to lay down the futile struggle against the inevitable, choosing instead to master what resides within? Have you asked yourself what it truly means to love your fate, to welcome the road you're on with open arms, no matter how winding or steep? The Stoics weave this notion into their teachings, suggesting that each twist of fortune carries something to instruct or refine us. Sometimes life's detours feel like an ambush, but with amor fati, we learn to embrace them as part of our story, essential threads in the tapestry of existence. We become travelers who marvel at every bend and turn, ever curious about what lies beyond. By looking upon our trials with gratitude instead of resentment, we awaken a profound sense of peace, trusting that each moment belongs in the grand design. Even heartbreak can become a teacher, cautioning us to appreciate every fleeting second of companionship. Will you choose to cherish your path, no matter how it unfolds, seeing every twist as a gift of growth? Can you envision how reflection might become the scaffold for lasting improvement, shaping your life one day, one insight at a time? The Stoics cherished introspection, often suggesting we hold a mirror to our actions, motives, and reactions, searching for hidden truths. This is not to condemn ourselves, but to learn which habits hamper our virtue and which ones inspire it. As the sun sets, consider the day's triumphs and stumbles, walking through them in your mind as a gentle teacher might guide a student. By studying your day, you notice patterns, the moments when you rose to challenges with grace and the moments when you faltered. Awareness leads to change as you resolve to do better, to uphold the Stoic ideals of wisdom and courage. Will you adopt this nighttime reflection as a faithful companion, guiding your evolution day after day? How often do you remember that life itself is fleeting, that every new morning is a gift, neither owed nor guaranteed? The Stoics believed that meditating on mortality can enhance our appreciation for life, not by dwelling on gloom, but by amplifying our sense of urgency. Marcus Aurelius, in his quiet reflections, viewed each breath as a miracle, not to be taken for granted. The awareness of our limited time should galvanize us to live with intensity and purpose, to act according to our highest principles without delay. In this mindful embrace of our transient nature, trivial worries tend to shrink, replaced by a clarity about what truly matters. Our relationships grow deeper, our actions more sincere, and our days more luminous. Will you let this realization ignite your heart, spurring you to live fully, awake to the marvel of existence? Do you find that you have a fortress within, a space of refuge that no external turmoil can breach? The Stoics painted vivid pictures of this inner stronghold, calling it a citadel, a place governed by our reason and guarded by our virtue. No insult can penetrate its walls unless we open the gates. No misfortune can truly shatter our peace unless we yield to despair. Imagine fortifying this inner castle through daily training, practicing self-control, nurturing patience, and cultivating a mindset of benevolence. When external events press upon you, you stand resolute, aware that the final say belongs to your own response. In this fortress, you are sovereign, free to shape your thoughts and choose how to meet the world's demands. Will you stand guard at the threshold of your mind, defending it against the siege of negativity? Have you realized how forming alliances with those who share your pursuit of virtue can inspire you to new heights of discipline and compassion? The Stoics encouraged learning from wise companions, just as you would from a cherished book or mentor. When we surround ourselves with individuals who value integrity, courage, and kindness, their influence can lift our spirits, reminding us that we do not walk this path alone. A shared commitment to excellence becomes a beacon of hope, a reminder that humanity's true nature leans toward unity and growth. Choose your circle with care, for their values can become contagious, shaping your mindset as rain nourishes the soil. Just as negative influences can corrode our resolve, positive ones can fortify our morale. Will you find those who challenge and support your quest, merging your strengths to form a community of stoic resilience? When was the last time you dared to accept criticism not as an insult, but as a chance to refine your character? The Stoics often viewed feedback as a gift, for it exposes our blind spots and helps us detect the boundaries of our current understanding. It can sting to uncover flaws, to realize we are not as composed or wise as we hoped. Yet each critique holds the potential to reshape our habits and transform us if we meet it with humility. Rather than defending our ego, we can investigate the truth behind the words, seeking lessons rather than a fight. In this way, even discomfort becomes a stepping stone, guiding us toward the virtues we aspire to embody. Will you open your heart to this form of growth, seeing every critique as a signpost on the road to self-improvement? Do you recognize that envy and comparison can poison the wellspring of our joy, leading us astray from our own unique path? The Stoics warn against longing for another's fortune, believing it to be a distraction from the more meaningful work of self-mastery. Even modern Stoic philosophers highlight how measuring our worth against someone else's achievements weakens our self-esteem and warps our perspective. By focusing on our personal progress, our own metrics of growth, we release ourselves from the chains of external validation. We can observe others' successes as sources of inspiration rather than catalysts for self-doubt. This shift allows us to remain faithful to our journey, discovering that true competition lies in surpassing our former selves. Will you unburden your heart from comparisons, letting your genuine potential unfold without the shadow of envy? Could you envision a life where forgiveness becomes second nature, where we refuse to carry grudges that only weigh us down? The Stoics teach that harboring resentment is like hauling around a heavy sack that drains our energy and clouds our judgment. By choosing forgiveness, we liberate ourselves from this burden and create space for compassion. This does not excuse harmful behavior, but it prevents us from inflicting further harm upon ourselves through bitterness. Imagine the relief of laying down old resentments, stepping forward into each day with a heart unencumbered by past wounds. In that freedom, we find the power to shape our present with clear-eyed perspective. Will you allow forgiveness to lighten your steps, trusting that the Stoic way involves releasing what no longer serves you? Have you felt the clarity that arises when you intentionally reduce the unnecessary clutter in your life, from material excess to mental noise? The Stoics would remind us that true wealth lies in having few desires, in cherishing quality over quantity. By freeing ourselves from constant wants, we strip away distractions and discover deeper contentment in what we already possess. Minimalism, both in our external environment and our internal narrative, fosters a calmer mind, for we no longer chase every shiny object that crosses our path. Each possession we let go becomes a testament to our autonomy, our refusal to be owned by what we own. Instead of seeking new trinkets, we invest in personal growth, in relationships, in experiences that expand our spirit. Will you practice this form of mindful minimalism, turning your attention inward and finding wealth within? What if you believed that every choice you make, no matter how small, reflects your character, acting as a single drop in the vast ocean of who you become? The Stoics argue that virtue is built in the trenches of daily life, in the tiny moments when we choose honesty over deceit, courage over surrender, and kindness over apathy. Modern Stoic philosophers concur, noting how the sum of these small decisions forms the essence of our moral being. There is a kind of quiet magic in these mundane acts of integrity, each one a brushstroke on the canvas of our soul. As we maintain these daily commitments, we begin to see that the route to greatness is not a sudden leap, but a patient, purposeful progression. Ask yourself, how will you conduct yourself today, and what values will you embody in the details? Have you dared to imagine that failure might be a teacher disguised in tattered robes, beckoning you to look deeper into your own limitations and strengths? The Stoics insisted that a setback is often the spark that ignites renewed focus, a crack in our self-assurance that reveals where we must grow. If we shun the lessons offered by failure, we merely prolong our ignorance. However, by examining our mistakes, we uncover valuable insights, forging a new resolve that surpasses our past limitations. Even the greatest minds stumbled, including many of the Stoics themselves, who wore their scars like badges of earned wisdom. Will you treat your failures as tutors or as reasons to abandon your journey? Perhaps in their embrace, you will find a new beginning. Are you curious how the Stoics managed to remain composed amid tumult, never losing sight of their values or succumbing to despair? They believed in the unity of reason and virtue, forging a shield that deflects the slings and arrows of fortune. Picture a quiet steadiness, a calm inner flame that neither triumph nor tragedy can extinguish. This composure is not born from numbness or apathy, but from awareness, from accepting that life ebbs and flows, yet we may choose constant dignity in our response. Modern Stoic philosophers reaffirm this practice, encouraging regular reflection on our intentions, so that when chaos arises, we stand firm. It's the willingness to remain grounded, even as the world whirls around us, rooted in the values we've carefully cultivated. Will you practice this stillness, training yourself to respond with grace, rather than react with panic? Do you believe that beneath all your striving for achievement lies a longing for peace, a search for the kind of fulfillment that only wisdom can provide? The Stoics teach that true contentment cannot be bought or bestowed by another. It must be found in the unwavering commitment to our principles. Like an artisan patiently refining their craft, we hone our character by examining each thought, each action, ensuring it aligns with what we deem right. This is a journey without a finish line, an ongoing dance with discipline and self-awareness. By working toward inner harmony, we free ourselves from the burden of chasing illusions in the outer world. Each day becomes an exercise in clarity, each moment an opportunity to live in accordance with the best within us. Will you invest in this internal wealth, shaping your life from the inside out? Have you noticed how hope can emerge from the darkest recesses of doubt, a small but steady glow urging you forward? The Stoics never promised a life devoid of pain, but they pointed to resilience as our compass in troubled times. Even when shadows loom large, we can keep moving, trusting that every step carries us closer to a brighter horizon. Hope intertwines with courage, both rooted in the understanding that life's hardships can be met with dignity and strength. By pairing hope with action, we plant seeds of renewal in our hearts, blossoms that rise above despair. The Stoics saw these seeds as ever-present, waiting only for our willingness to cultivate them with mindful persistence. Will you dare to water these seeds with determination, letting hope guide your path like a beacon in the night? Could this be the moment you resolve to change, not in a sudden frenzy, but in a calm and unwavering decision to live differently? The Stoics encourage steady transformation, a gradual climb toward the summit of self-improvement. Each breath offers a choice, each day a chance to step away from old habits and into the promise of renewal. Recognize that your past does not dictate your future, that the Stoic path is always open to anyone eager to seek it. Embrace the knowledge that your evolution is a process, one that thrives on persistence, self-honesty, and faith in your own potential. If you slip, you rise again, invigorated by the lessons gleaned from your misstep. Will you seize this chance to become the architect of your destiny, forging a life that resonates with your deepest values? Ask yourself now, in this very breath, how you will choose to live from this day on, guided by the timeless lessons of the Stoics and fueled by your own awakening. In the Stoic tradition, the close of every reflection leads to action, to the tangible steps we take toward the life we wish to craft. Let your daily exercise be a gesture of self-respect, your healthy meals an homage to vitality, your rest a testament to inner harmony. Through acceptance, discipline, and a steadfast commitment to your core principles, you invite transformation into every corner of your life. Failures become teachers, struggles become catalysts, and gratitude becomes the foundation upon which your resilience rests. Remember that you are never alone on this path, for countless seekers across centuries echo these very sentiments. Will you honor their wisdom by becoming a living testament to Stoic values, forging a brighter, bolder existence one day at a time?